persons who have recently died have been returning to life and seeking human victims.
G'day folks, it's Cortezerino, and I did all of that intro just because I was curious to see what the mountain village looked like at night. But, oops, we've reached the ending. Ow! This thing is a death trap. How do you like my new nether tunnel? 1,000 blocks long, so I didn't go to too much effort. We've just got the sea lens so I don't get lost. And then I blasted out all this area with TNT. So that is nice and straight. So why have I built this huge nether tunnel? 1,000 blocks. Well, that's because I encountered something unexpected with my world downloads. See, the good thing about giving you guys access to my worlds is that enterprising young people go exploring and then they clue me in to what is in my world. And we have something super duper special. Wither skeleton, that's pretty special. Let's just deal with these guys. So just here, 1,000 blocks from my nether hub, we have check for wither skeletons. Not one blaze spawner, but 2 blaze spawners. Look at this. This is absolutely ridiculous. They are... I'm going to fall down and get myself killed here. They are what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks apart. And not only that, they are in a dead straight line together. They are right next to each other. I don't even have to invent anything special to get a blaze farm to work with this. I've got my sweeper design. Go away! I thought I'd placed enough torches, but obviously not. Let's stake the fire resistance. That's why I brought it. So, let's not stand right next to the spawners when there is a ghast flying around, just in case. So yeah, I've got my slime block sweeper design, and that will actually push these guys. I don't have to reinvent it, I just make the room a little bit bigger. And because they're directly in line, it can be the same width, and the slime block sweeper will just push them all off into my little killing chamber. But let's get out of here so I can actually concentrate on what I'm talking about. And let's go have a look at the blaze farm that I've already built. So here we are over at the nether hub where I've got a blaze farm nice and close. But it's just a single blaze spawner. That isn't good enough for Cortezerino. We have to go the double, especially since I just built that huge smelter. We need lots and lots of blaze rods. So the idea of this is we have a slime block sweeper. So I can just press that and it will trigger, and it's a flying machine. It flies along, grabs all the blaze and it brings them back. But the cool thing is, it also crushes them down to a one-hit kill, so they're getting crushed in the sweeper. Then these trapdoors will release after a certain amount of time, and they drop down, so it's not a one-hit kill with a punch, but with a sweeping edge sword. That gets them all, and all my blaze rods go down into that barrel there. So that's pretty cool, but the problem is, I invented this in 1.12, and with each update, it gets a little bit less efficient. I can see those cakes there. Originally, I had, in 1.12, they were daylight sensors, and then all the blaze, when they'd get crushed by the flying machine, they'd be able to scoot out backwards over the top of the daylight sensors. So I put cakes in, they're a lot taller, but and that worked really well for 1.13, but then 1.14 comes along. And again, I'm starting to get a few blaze escape out the back. The problem is with that, if they take a few hits from the crusher, and then they manage to get out over the cakes and get out there again, next time I hit the flying machine, then when they come back, they've already taken a few hits, so the crusher's going to kill them, which isn't good at all. And so what I want to do is, like, I do want to use this design, but I don't want to be wasting blaze. So I've been thinking about 1.15 and the honey blocks. They will sweep the same way the slime blocks do, but they are also really good at pushing mobs. So I'm wondering, with honey blocks, will they be able to escape? And for that, I need to get the snapshot. And here we are in pre-release 6 for 1.15, and immediately I find a problem. So here is my flying machine that I attach my big sweeper to. So it's only 6 blocks big, but honey blocks do not behave exactly the same when it comes to redstone. So the smallest flying machine I could get was this one, which means as soon as I attach a 9 block long honey block sweeper to it, it doesn't work anymore. I can only get an 8 block long one, but I still did some testing just to see what would happen, and no, it wasn't very effective at all. So, like before, you saw when the sweeper comes along here, and it gets to the end with all the blaze, it just pushes the blaze to the other side and takes them along. The honey block one leaves about half of them behind, which isn't a big deal. I could put a second drop chute in, but yeah, the blaze was still escaping at the back, so honey blocks did not help. So I just thought I would abandon that concept completely and just try and perfect my blaze farm so I wouldn't get any more losses. And I had the idea, I thought it'd be cool to have my AFK spot, my AFK room, directly under the spawners. Ooh, I'm picking up XP there. So I could look up in the sky and have both spawners above my head. I thought that'd look awesome, and that allowed me plenty of room to play with, so I just decided not to use the sweeper as the crushing mechanism anymore. I would drop the blaze down here and do it this way. So this is what I came up with. Same thing up the top, the sweeper goes along, but this time instead of crushing them, it drops them down a little chute, and then a crusher extends, and then the same thing after a short delay. Those trapdoors will release and they will all fall down here. So that was working perfectly. Whoops, that's not the thing I was looking for. Let's get rid of these guys. That worked great. So I went and built this in my world, and it was a disaster. No, it wasn't a disaster. It just wasn't super efficient. See, here on the testing world, it works fine, but as soon as we get a little bit of lag, nope, it didn't work. So that was a bit of a waste of time. What was happening is a lot of the blaze weren't dropping down fast enough, so when the crusher extended, they'd have their heads above it and they'd be all over the place, and then the trapdoors would release and they wouldn't fall down. Worked perfectly every time here, but it didn't work there. So I went back to the drawing board, and this is what I currently have built in my world. And it was a little bit tricky because I was just making adjustments on the fly, because I couldn't test it here in the creative world because we didn't have all the lag. So I just built a little bit, test it there, and it wouldn't work and all kinds of stuff. But I've gotten around it, and the redstone is a little bit nasty because I just kept making additions as I was going. So what we do now is same sort of thing. The sweeper pushes them down here, but this time I have a bunch of blocks extend above their heads to trap them in place, and then I do the crusher. So this is working almost perfectly. The only thing at the moment is every now and then I get a few blaze stuck up on top where the sweeper is, but yeah, you can see they all fall down. Then the blocks extend above the head, so there is no escaping. Then they crush, and then I can just whack them down here when that's done. And that is working great. Probably the only improvement I could make is the sweeper goes all the way to the wall there, and occasionally one gets his head stuck and doesn't drop down. But I could make a little bit of a gap for him to fall down. But anyway, enough talking here. Let's go into my survival world. So yeah, I spent a whole evening in this thing just rearranging the redstone, but it is finally working alright now. So we've got a glass floor here, got a ring of sea lens around the side with some dark prismarine underneath. I think that looks pretty cool. I've still got to do something with the walls. And then up above here we've got our little blaze cage. I built the whole thing out of white glass. I don't know if I like that now. I wonder if I want to go around and box it in completely. It might look a little bit better, I'm not sure. But this looks cool. Look at those two spawners up there. What I've noticed though is it's not exactly double speed because they're so close. When one spawns a bunch of blaze, the other blaze can see those blaze in the area. So it's okay when they're offsetting their spawning. So I've got all four spawn then, and then this one will spawn. But every now and then they start spawning at exactly the same time. And I only tend to get about 6 blaze spawn at a time then, but it is much faster. See, yeah, see, that one didn't spawn at all last time. Guess it was cancelled out by that one, but yes. It's definitely faster than a single spawner, but it's not quite double speed. And I've got all my particle effects turned off so you can see things working properly here. But let's give it a go. And I wonder if we'll get any get stuck in there, if it's going to work perfectly the first time. Boom, there they go across. See, I didn't have to wait very long at all to get all these blaze here. See how quickly they drop down. See, not as fast as in the creative world, but that worked perfectly that time. So this, I guess, is the... Well, it's not. I was about to say it's the design I'm sticking with, but it is not quite, guys. We need to make a little adjustment because of the speed of this thing. Look how many blaze rods I'm getting. It's cool. I set myself here last night and I went away and I didn't think it was more than 10 minutes. It probably wasn't more than 10 minutes. And I came back and there were blaze everywhere and I pushed the button. The sweeper took them across and then they all died to cramming because there were just too many blaze. And I wasn't gone that long, so... Oh, we can't have that. We can't have it that I can only AFK for 5 minutes at a time. So I'm going to make an adjustment. What I want to do is have a separate button I can press. So after 5 minutes, the sweeper will go across, collect a bunch of blaze and put them down here. And then I can still collect some more up above so I can AFK for a little bit longer. But then I thought, well, we can AFK for even longer if I put a second killing machine on the other side, and then have a timer that'll make the sweeper go twice. 5 minutes, it'll do that side. 5 minutes, it'll do that side. So that is what we're doing now. Well, that was annoying. Besides the fact that this doesn't work, I just do not like it. So it doesn't work because once the sweeper pushes one lot of guys down here, and then it moves away, there's a big open gap so extra guys can start falling down. Guys with full health mixing with the guys who have already been crushed, which means when I come over and give them a hit, they all get angry at me and start flying around. So rather than try and fix it though, just to block off the tunnel so more can't fall down, I'm just going to get rid of that one because it's, well, like, what is the point of having two spawners so close together if I'm just going to make 2 drop chutes and I have to keep running back and forth. I really don't like that. So I've just built it, and now I'm going to get rid of it. But we will keep the hopper timer in there, and I'll just make it do 1 sweep. But I'm sick of looking at this. Let's go look at something else. Let's go look at where all these blaze rods are going. And I think it's worth mentioning that I am still going to... are you going to leave? Go away. I'm still going to keep this this blaze farm right here because it is a really nice spot to AFK if I ever want to get more wither skeletons. So I've just been getting the skulls as I've been passing through here. But because that blaze farm is right there, it's a perfect little AFK spot. So since we were at the base last time, I have done a little bit of work down here. So we already had the double super smelter in place. But I've been decorating the room a little bit. Let's just dump off some of these blaze rods. I put these little arrows up here to say those are the chests where all the goodies go. But I think we need to get rid of these because I'm always worried about, rather than hitting the chest, turning that arrow. So I don't think we need them. They can go. That's all we need. So this is looking pretty cool. I've got a really nice ceiling up here. So we're just mixing in the smooth quartz with some of that dark prismarine. But you'll notice I've done something that I haven't done in the base before. You know, it was all very white in the base and I was getting very sick of it. So we've got the stripped spruce wood floor in. And one thing you don't want to do in your base is suddenly change themes in between rooms. It always looks a bit odd. But the stripped spruce wood is the perfect colour to use because I've already used it in the chests. So this texture, I think, is the closest we can get to the texture of the chest. So we've already got all this chest colour in the base. So putting that floor in suits the place absolutely perfectly, I think. And I think I'm going to do a lot more of this. There was definitely too much white in here before. But I haven't got any ideas for how I'm going to finish this room yet. I mean, I could just decorate the thing, but we have to do more additions to the base eventually. So I've got a couple of water elevators here. Well, I've got 1 water elevator and a little drop chute here just to get down to this level. But we will eventually go deeper, so I need more elevators to get up and down to more levels, and maybe we can figure out some more additions to this room. Alright guys, we are done, or at least I'm done with it for today. This thing is fully operational, and I've got a brand new entrance here. It's looking pretty nice. I put some glass down just because I don't want beasties spawning close to the entrance. And that is because I'm using pressure plates to open my door, which is a little bit crazy because I'm going to be AFKing in there. But the plan is that the mobs will not want to cross those rails. I hope. I very much hope. But I think this place is looking pretty good. So I've gone for this kind of theme now. A very nethery sort of theme. I've got the red nether brick and the netherwort blocks. But let's head on in, and this pretty much looks the same, except I've continued this theme in the room, which kind of means I don't know if my dark prismarine floor really fits in anymore. But we got rid of the killing chamber on that wall. I've just got a bunch of anvils so I can use my XP to do all kinds of crazy stuff. And you'll see my shulker boxes in there. That's just a little place where I can put them to load them up with blaze rods. And the button, just breaks them. But let's put all these away. The only other thing I've done, I've got the 2 buttons now. So we've got the one sweeper that will just take them over there and crush them. But if I want to AFK, here's the timer. And I've added a little feature to it that once I press the button, that light will remain on until the whole sweeping cycle is finished. But let's get behind here and have a look. I won't go over all the redstone, I'll just show you the timer I put in. Before, when I did that little time lapse, putting the blaze down both sides, that wasn't a 5-minute timer. I was just using the Etho hopper clock just to test it quickly, and discovered I hated it. But I've got this loaded up with 5 stacks of netherrack. And then the way it works is this bit of dust here on the ether hopper timer, that will remain on until the entire thing has reset and the button's ready to press again. So I've just got an observer on top of that piston. So when the piston pushes up, that observer does not power anything. But when it retracts, it'll power that bit of dust and fire my sweeper. And then the only other thing is that dust is also powering this torch. And that just goes up there and keeps my light on. You know, now that I've spent an entire episode making a wicked blaze farm, someone else is probably going to get the world download and find 3 blaze spawners altogether, and I will be at this again. But they probably won't find it this close to my nether hub. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I'm Cortezerino. I'll see you later.